So the brake shoes are good, the drums are good. My only concern is that's the inner bearing and that's the seal. Just a little trap for young players. Oh, here we go. Copy and repeat 3 more times. Well, good everybody. Welcome back to Wingin It Downunder. So as I told you last week, this week I'm going to check the bearings, check the brakes in the Caravan, and if the brakes or bearings need replacing, I will do that. Replace the seals. So if you haven't done that before, or you want to see how it's done, how I do it, I'm not a mechanic, but how I do it, come along and see how it all works. Well, morning everyone. As you can see, I've got my working clobber on. Today's job is I'm going to check the bearings and the brakes in this Caravan. So I did it last year, 12 months ago, and I'm just going to do it again. So I'll take them off and have a look at them. I'll show you what I do to check them. And while I've got the wheels and stuff off, I just have a look underneath, make sure none of the suspension's loose or nothing coming loose under there. Over here, then you can follow me over here. This is pretty much the tools I'm going to need to do the job. My tension wrench, hammer, shifting spanner, side cutters, pliers, brake cleaner, high temperature grease, a rattle gun. I'm going to put new seals in it while I'm going. So I'll knock the old seals out, put new seals in. They're probably all right, but I'll just replace them anyway. They're not that expensive. So I've also got a heap of rags down there. You need rags on this sort of greasy, horrible job. I've got a block of wood there. I can use that to knock the seal out of the brake drum. The van's all I've wedged it up with my chocks so that it can't go anywhere. So first job is I'll go and let the handbrake off, and hopefully it won't move. Shouldn't move. It's all chocked up, and then we'll start the job. All right. So first job before I jack it up is to crack the wheel nuts. Obviously you want to crack them before you lift it off the ground. So I'll just do that now. So what I'll do now is I shall jack the wheel up. So while Dina's got the camera under here, I'll just show you something. You can see they've put a white mark here. And if that hasn't moved, then pretty much your bolts are tight. So on each one, you'll find there'll be a white mark when we got the last wheel alignment done and stuff. So that's a good way to tell if anything's loose under here. That mark won't line up. Right, so now that the wheel's off the ground, what you want to check for is that's pretty tight. It's not flogging around, not slopping around. The other thing you want to do is just give it a turn, and you can hear the bearings are nice. That little bit of a scrape you can hear, that's just the brake drums touching the brake shoes touching the drums, but there's no bearing rumble. Normally if the bearings are buggered, you'll hear like a rumbling noise when you're turning it, but there's no rumble there at all. It's really smooth. So what I'll do now is I shall pull the wheel off, and we'll have a look at the shoes. All right, so I've just put that wheel under there so that if the jack lets go for some reason, it'll just drop down onto the wheel. So now I've got to get the drums off. Okay, so the grease all still looks good in that bit. Just down here. Alright, so I'll just take the split pin out here. so. See, that's good, that. There's no rumbling noise there at all. This is the lock and nut that locks it all in. Let's take that off. So, and now we've just got to give this a bit of a wobble, and that should come out like so. That's the bearing. So you can see, looking at that, the grease hasn't broken down in there, and all those needle rollers are nice and shiny. And I can see in the cone here, the cone's got no marks on it. That little piece where my finger is in down here, that cone's pretty good. But I'll pull that out and we'll have a look at that. Let's take this off. Right, so as you can see, the shoes are actually pretty good. It's still got plenty of life in those left yet. So I'll check them again in a few months' time. The brake shoes are this section. You look at this section from where my thumbnail is here to this section in here. So that little piece from my thumbnail, my fingernail there to there. So that is your brake shoe. All right. So you can see there's there's plenty of meat left around that edge on both sides. So those brakes are okay. I think that's fine. I'm not going to worry about those. They're okay. Right, I'll turn this drum over and we'll just have a look at the inside of the drum. In here. Yeah, that's fine. There's no cracks in it. There's no lip there. So the drums are actually quite good. So the brake shoes are good. The drums are good. Looking at the cones there is a minimal amount of wear on. I mean, I probably could put them back in there, but I think I'm going. We've had the van for over 3 years now, so. And they haven't been replaced yet. We've just been, I've been repacking them and putting new seals in. But I think that, I mean, the bearing looks okay. Yeah, look at this. You can see that the needle rollers look fine, but the cone is, it's probably okay, but I'm thinking I might just, seeing I'm doing it, I might just put new bearings in. Put new bearings and cones in, just replace the whole lot. My only concern is, you can see where the needle rollers have been running on here, and if you look to the inside where my fingernail is there, there's just a little shiny bit there, which is the bit they're not running on. There's no lip there. I can't feel a lip there or anything, there's no lip at all. Like I said, we've had the van for over 3 years now, 3.5, nearly 4 years, so I'm thinking I might just go the extra yard and replace the bearings while I'm going. All right, so I'm just going to give this a spray out with the brake cleaner, just to give it a bit of a clean up. Yeah, brake cleaner. Okay, so I'll just give this a good clean up all the way around. Brake cleaner. All right. So that's pretty much ready for me to put it back together. And while I've got it out, I'll just have a bit of a look in here at all my nuts and bolts and everything. All right, so I'll just climb underneath and just check everything under there, make sure all the nuts and bolts are tight, nothing's loose, nothing's moving. Just have a look at the bushes and everything. So I'll just climb up here now and yeah, there's nothing moving down here. All looks pretty good. Another way that you can tell if something's been moving is normally if a bolt's loose or a nut's a bit loose or whatever, you'll see it'll be shiny around where the nut tightens up onto whatever surface it's tightening up onto, or the bolt, either one. If there's all dust around it and there's no shiny bits, then it's not moving. So that's a good way to tell if stuff's moving under there. But anyway, nothing's loose under there, everything's tight, everything's good. The brakes are good, but I think for, considering we've had the van for 4 years, the bearings and cones are acceptable, but I think I'm just going to replace them because, like I said, I've had the van for 4 years. I could probably do another year with those, but I'm figuring, well, I'm just going to replace them. Like 4 years is pretty good for a set of bearings. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, looks like I'm off to the bearing shop. Okay, so I've been to the bearing shop, got all the bearings and seals, new bearings and seals and cones. So now I've just got to knock all the old ones out, pack the new ones with grease, and then put them back in and put it back together. So it's a bit more of a job than I thought it was going to be. But anyway, that's all right. Okay, so my next job is I'm going to knock the bearings inner bearings out and knock the inner cone out and the seal. That's the inner bearing and that's the seal. So obviously replacing those. All right, so the next job is to get the cones out. So I've just got my little trusty old punch here. Old as the hills, but should do the job. And there's your inner cone. Have a look at this one. Yeah, so you can probably see it a little bit better now. You can see where it's worn around the inside and there's just a little shiny bit here. So, I mean, it's not too bad, but anyway, I'm just going to replace them. So for me, it cost me around $200 for the brake cleaner, new grease, the bearings, seals and cones. So and that's through the whole four wheels. So I think $200, like, why would you bother? Why would you not do it for $200? So anyway, we shall get that's the outer we've got out. Now we've got to get the inner out. So and there's the inner, that's the inner cone. No good. Alright, so that's the new cone. That's the new one that's going in. So I've already sprayed that out with a bit of brake cleaner. So now, putting that in like so, and the trick is getting these in even. Alright, so you've got to knock it all the way down till you get to the seat at the bottom there, till it won't go any further. And just when you're knocking it in, just try and go from side to side so that you don't jam it in there. So you just got to go a bit at a time each side. In. Okay, so I've put the back cone in, and I'm going to put the front cone in. Just a little trap for young players. I went down to the bearing shop and I just said, yeah, I need the forward bearings. But what you have to do is you have to have a look at your shaft when you pull it off. So if you have a look at your shaft, there's no tapers in that. That's one diameter all the way through. So in other words, it's what they call a parallel shaft. So with the standard forward ones, the shaft tapers and goes up at the back. So you've got a bigger bearing at the back and a smaller bearing at the front. But with this one, it's got the big bearing front and the big bearing back. So because I didn't realise that it was that the bearings were different, I thought all the forward bearings were the same. They're not the same. So some of them have got a tapered shaft where you've got a small bearing at the front and a large bearing at the back. This one is what they call a parallel shaft, which means you've got the same size bearing at the front as at the back. So just make sure you check that before you get your bearings. So I didn't look at that. I just figured, oh, yeah, forward bearings, I'll go and get them because I've never replaced them before. I've only greased them. And yeah, found out the hard way that, yeah, so I had to go back and get another set. So that's all right. So now I shall put the cone in the front. I've already put it in the back. I'll put the cone in the front now. So I'm just going to use the old cone just to get this started. It'll be easier. Okay. So when you're tapping it down, you'll feel it going down. As soon as you get to the seat, it'll get really hard. You'll notice that you'll even hear the difference in when I'm hitting it. So you'll notice now when I'm hitting it, it's not moving at all now. It's actually come to a stop. So it means you've reached the seat. All right. So that's the cone in there now. So now what I've got to do is I've got to grease these two new bearings. So I got super premium high temperature grease. It's a Moraes, which apparently is really good stuff. Right, so this is the procedure. Get your bearing. Then what I do is I just get a chunk of grease, put it on my hand there, and then get the big side, that side there of the bearing, and what I do is just do that. You just keep going until it comes through. I'll show you. It'll start coming through in a minute. There it is. See it just starting to come through the top there. That way you know that you're getting the grease through, and just go all the way around doing that till you get it to come through all the way around. It's a grubby job. I don't like doing it. Anyway, got to be done. So see here, you can see where it's oozing through, and then over here I haven't done that yet, see? So there's nothing coming through there, but it's around there squeezing up from the bottom. Just push it against your hand like that. Just keep taking little bites of it. I will say right up front, I am not a mechanic, but in my younger days I have done, I can't tell you how many bearings. I've done truck bearings, I've done horse float bearings, trailer bearings, boat bearings, car bearings, so this is how I've always done it. There's probably better ways to do it, but this is the way I do it. So every wheel has got two bearings. It's got an inner and an outer bearing. So obviously when you do it, you just replace all of them. Replace the inner, replace the outer, replace the cones, and the cones come with the bearings anyhow, and replace the seals. Definitely replace the seals. So, all right. Let's put some grease in there. So, turn around the bearing. All right, so we'll just drop the bearing in there, like so. All right. Now the seal goes in here, like so. Just got to get, once again, same deal. You've got to try and get this in level. Try and start it as level as you can, so you don't twist your seal. Right. All right, so that seal's in. Right, so I'm going to put a bit more grease in there, just to make sure. Some around the seal, where your seal goes onto the shaft. Okay, I'll put a bit of grease along the shaft here. Just put some grease all around here. Don't want too much on there. Now, Oh, here we go. Right. So that's the brake drum on, back in position. I've got to now put the front cone, the front bearing in, which is this one, which has been pre-greased. I just slide that. It's a little bit tight. Okay. All right. Here we go. And that's it. New bearings are in there. Just put a little bit more grease in there, won't it? All right. Washer. Okay. So I just put the washer on now, and then the locking nut goes up against that washer to tighten it up. Tightening these up, what I normally do is just tighten them up. That's just the brake shoes touching in there. Okay. All right, so with this, I think it's because it's a parallel shaft bearing. Normally when you tighten that up like that, it actually starts to bind that a little bit. But on these ones, it doesn't seem to matter. So I think you just take it home till it's fairly firm, and then just back it off a little bit. There, I can feel it binding a little bit there, not much. Alright, so now what I'll do, I'll just back it off a little bit till I find the hole for the split pin, which I think is there. Yeah. Right. That feels good. Running free. There's no slop in that at all. So we'll just put the split pin back in again, like so, and then get your pliers and just bend that up over there like so. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Bearings changed, new seals. Sounds good. There's no wobbling or anything anywhere. It's tight. Alright, so I just put a heap of grease around that. You probably don't really need to. Doesn't really do that much, but anyway, I do it. And then just basically just tap the cap back on. And that's it. Job done. Wheel bearing's done, brakes are checked. I've checked all the nuts and bolts and everything under here, they all look good. So now it's just a matter of copy and repeat 3 more times. Anyway, that's good, that's a job done, that's good. I'm happy with that. Oh, the last job is to get the wheel back on. Okay. and I've just jacked it up to enough, then lined them up, and there you go, she's on. Awesome. Let's get a nut on there. Alright, so I've got them all started, and I'll just touch them up with this thing a little bit. Right, so I'll just lift that up a little bit more. I've just jacked it off the ground again. Just want to check for there's no slop there at all, and it's free as. So that's pretty much perfect. So I can tighten those wheel nuts up now. That's this one all done. So the brakes are checked, new wheel bearings, re-greased, and adjusted up and the wheel back on. So as you can see, there's nothing, there's no rock there whatsoever. And that's what you want. You don't want any slop there. And it has to turn nice and free like that. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with that. So I can let that down now. And then I'll tension up the bolts to the right tension with my tension wrench. Right, so I'll just set my tension wrench, 135 Newton meters is what they're supposed to be. So I'll just set this up. 134, that's close enough. Now once again, when you're tensioning these, everybody knows, always do the opposites. Right. And that's it, job done. It's ready to go. Not my favourite job, but anyway, done now. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully you got something out of this, and if you did, give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And come along with us next week when we do some more exploring around Whyalla and see what we get up to.